Hey traders, welcome back to another daily profit and loss recap video. Today is Wednesday, July 19th. I just finished up trading for the morning and I locked in $839 in profits. In this video, we're going to break down my two winning trades today, talk about my entry points and my exit points, as well as my thought process behind those trades, so that hopefully you can take something from my trading and apply it to your own. And let's not waste any time. Let's get into the first trade for me. This is going to be with the stock CLBR. CLBR, if we take a look at the daily chart, yesterday was a big pump and dump that happened. It opened the morning at a price of $10.55, spiked up to a high of $14.34, and then came straight back down and closed below the opening price at a price of $8.99. So that is, believe it or not, kind of typical price action for what I would consider to be a pump and dump. And although it can be really risky to trade a stock that is a pump and dump, at the same time there is often very good trade opportunities that come from them because of all of the volatility and the higher relative volume that's coming into the stocks. So with all of that being said, this morning at 9:44 a.m. in the Market Master group, I post all of my trades and all of the stocks that I'm watching for potential trades. And CLBR was no different. I posted worth eyeing as it just hit the opening range breakout scanner. Big pump and dump from yesterday, might be able to catch a quick bounce. I'm using the morning low to risk off of and looking for a move to 1050 plus. So this is kind of how it was first put onto my radar this morning. At 9:41 in the morning, it hit the opening range breakout scanner at a price of $9.77. I keep a close eye on this scanner specifically within the first 30 minutes to hour of the market open, because within that time frame, this scanner is really helpful in finding stocks that are breaking out and have a lot of morning momentum. So once I saw it hit the scanner, I jumped over to my trading platform and I started to check out the chart. And I realized that if I were to get in at the current price up in the 970s, it would be a really solid setup for a bounce, and I would have a relatively low risk on the trade because I was using this morning low down here of $9.15 to risk off of, and since I was only taking a few hundred shares at a time in this stock, my overall risk on the trade was probably going to be less than a few $100s. So anyway, with all of that being said, as I mentioned in the Market Master group when I posted about this stock, my target for it was 1050 plus, so I started to lock in a portion of my profits once it was finally starting to push up into the 1050s. I then held on to the remainder of my shares. I only had a few hundred shares in total at that point in time, but I let them run up to over $11 per share. I wanted to try to capitalize on this move the best that I could in case it ended up having a nice big pump like it did the previous day. But once it started to reject that $11 area, it had a pretty decent sized sell-off, and then I ended up selling the rest of my shares into this bounce that followed in the low 1070s. And on that trade, I ended up with a total profit of $279. It was a really solid trade opportunity. I would have liked to have been in a bigger position, of course, but again, being that this is a stock that was just a pump and dump the previous day, it was a little bit of a riskier trade in general. And when I was first buying my shares, the volume was very thin. There was 10 cents, even at times 20-cent spreads between the bid and the ask. So when you have those two things, it can be really risky to build into a large position. At the end of the day, I'm happy with this trade and I'm happy with how it worked out. All right, moving on to the second trade, RXRX. This was a really solid winner for me this morning. And if we take a look here at the intraday price action, we can see that pretty much right at the market open, it starts to ramp up. And down here on the daily chart, we can see that once it was pushing through those levels at the market open, those were actually key levels from the previous day and the previous couple of days, because the high of the previous day was $14.17. So here at the market open, we pretty much immediately start to push through that previous day's high. Volume is starting to pick up. There's a really solid trend starting to form. And over here in the Market Master group, if we take a look at the trade plans, every single night we post trade plans for stocks to watch for the following day. And yesterday, RXRX was in our trade plans. The reason for that is because this was a very strong stock lately, and at the time it was looking to be setting up nicely for new highs within the next few days. What I wanted to see was that this was going to start moving back above the $14 area with volume. That would be a sign that buyers are back in control once again for a quick trade up to new highs. And of course, that is exactly what we see here at the market open. So I started to take a starter position in this stock. I was initially buying in the 1440s. I locked in a portion of my profits up here within this consolidation zone. This was happening right below a resistance level on the daily chart of $14.99. That was the high from about a week ago when this stock initially had its first big gap up. So once I saw that it was kind of consolidating below that price, that was kind of telling me that this may be a resistance level and we might start to sell off from this point. So I locked in, again, a portion of my profits. But once it started to pull back to VWAP here and it started to curl back off of it nicely, I added those shares back into my position. I then locked in a portion of my profits once again into this pop that happened above $15. And then finally, the remainder of my profits were locked in once we got this first lower high that happened on the 1 minute chart and we started to sell off then to the downside. I was selling the rest of my shares in the 1520s from that point. So on that trade, I ended up with $559 in profits, which brought my overall profits for the day up to $839. Really solid morning of trading. Everything kind of worked out really nicely and very quickly. And that's obviously exactly what you want to happen when you get into a trade. So I definitely have no complaints with how I traded this morning. Now, very quickly, even though I didn't trade it, I do want to just briefly talk about my thoughts on CVNA, Carvana. This was a nice gap up this morning from their earnings release. Also, if we take a look over here at the morning movers, we have Carvana's news posted, and what the news headlines were saying is that Carvana has a $1.2 billion debt deal, and essentially what that debt deal is dilution to the shareholders. So on their part, that was kind of a really solid way to disguise the dilution, and in my opinion, that's why this was having such a strong move up this morning in pre-market. Many people weren't realizing what the news actually was. They were just seeing that the company released their earnings, they have a debt deal that's going to reduce their debt, and everything's going to be bullish. The stock is going to run higher and higher. But once you actually read the news and you realize that it is kind of just diluting the shareholders, that's where things get tricky, and that's why I was a little bit bearish on this stock this morning and why I decided to not trade it at all. If we take a look at the price action, we can see it kind of starts to sell off a bit at the market open. Forms some support down here in the 47.50 area, bounces, rebounces off of that level once again, and is now kind of starting to curl up towards those highs. So there were definitely some trade opportunities here from this stock, but again, I was just a little bit too biased based on looking into the news and seeing how the stock was reacting to that news. So for me, I ended up just avoiding this stock today, even though it is a big mover and there is, of course, a ton of volume in this stock. All right, but anyway, those were my trades today and my main focuses for the day. Again, I ended up with $839 in profits. I hope you found some value in me going over these trades and talking about them in this video. And if you did, please make sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you want to hear about the stocks that I'm trading in real time, as well as work with our team of traders, get access to our day trade and swing trade alerts, our live scanner streams, and so on and so forth, all of that is available to our traders in the Market Master group. So there's going to be a link down below in the description for you to get signed up. But anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and good luck with your trading.